Hang on.
I got my granddaughter's in town.
Don't you start. I'll have her doing more than her thigh. I leave here.
I know a good spot in North Utica.
Which one?
He
I
does.
was there twice last week.
As my father would say, fight nice, children, fight nice.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, now I can call the meeting to order. You get approval of the minutes, June 18th, 2025.
1 second in.
Need a motion first.
First, no motion first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Mohawk Valley Garden letter of intent. Did everybody get a chance to look at that? I know Bob has gone through it. I had him go through it. Bob, you wanna?
He's on, both of them are.
Bob, you wanna say anything about
Yeah,
it?
Bob's on.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody. So you have before you the LOI that Rob has submitted. It's contemplated that he will take down the property to construct the project. The project's described. Jack, were you able to put up and hand out what Allison emailed to you?
The
Yeah.
attachments that Allison sent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody has.
So, yeah, so the project consists of two phases, I guess, for lack of a better term. There's a parcel 1 project, a parcel 2 project. And they're described in exhibit A, generally in exhibit A and exhibit B. So you should understand what's being constructed on the site, what the timeframes would be, estimated jobs, and what, what the details of the projects would be. Rob's contemplating that the takedown of parcel 1, which is the property adjacent to the 33 building, would take place after the Harbor Corp expends the $1.5 million in the DASNY Crest grant, which you're going to be asked to approve here later on at this meeting. And you've discussed it before. It's to make the site infrastructure improvements to make that area ready for new investment. Parcel 2, which is essentially the 33 building, has some infrastructure challenges as well. There is currently, this corporation has not been successful in securing any grants or anything for that piece. This is set up as kind of give everybody one more chance to try to find some grant money. There's a trigger on February 1st. If no grant proceeds have been secured, the buyer, Rob, has an opportunity to either walk away or decide to purchase the parcel 2 parcel and proceed with the project as described on exhibit B. And just in general, this talks about the purchase price. The conditions to closings are typical ones that we've used with other purchasers of our properties. Buyers agreed to pay for Harbor Corp's consultant, legal, architectural, any professional costs incurred related to this contemplated sale. And that's generally it.
Okay, nothing major changed from what we understand, right, Bob?
Just really, nothing's really changed. It's just the trying to give a little more clarity with respect to the DASNY grant for parcel 1 and kind of hold out effort for another grant for parcel 2. And if no one's successful in securing a grant, it's again, buyer has the ability to walk or take it down anyway and proceed without the benefit of some grant to help offset costs.
Any questions, Bob? Anything? Any questions you have? No? Okay.
No, he doesn't have any questions. He knows how to read that stuff.
There is. All right, no questions. Can I get a motion?
So
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? So moved. DASNY. Check. Yeah. Who's gonna take that one? Bob?
Sure, I can take that one. So this has been talked about for a while. I don't know if Paul's in the room, but there's, the corporation
He is.
received an award. Oh,
Here.
Paul, interrupt me if I say anything wrong. The corporation's received notification from DASNY that its grant for $1.5 million for infrastructure improvements on parcel 1 of the property that we just discussed, which is subject of the letter of intent with Rob Esch, Mohawk Valley Gardens. This will be the grant proceeds to be received by the Harbor Corp to be expensed on those improvements. So this corporation's applied for, and it's being asked to send in some preliminary certifications and other type of agreements prior to being provided with, in a future point in time, hopefully soon, a grant disbursement agreement. So this is an omnibus resolution, pretty much ratifying, confirming that this corporation applied for the grant and authorizing the execution of the certifications and related preliminary documents, and ultimately a grant disbursement agreement, and to undertake and to use the funds for the purposes for which they were applied for.
How long do you think this work will take? Paul?
I think we can get out there with, this fall, if it's, if Disney works quick enough, because it's really, the ground improvement specifications are minimal to, there's a specialty firm that comes in and does the ground improvement.
Yeah.
And if they're available in the fall, then, if we can get right out there. The rest of the work on the public side is some more water sewer work. On the Lee Street side, though, most of the work has been on the Harbor Way side. So on the Lee Street side enabled that side. And then we have in here kind of an environmental cleanup of the 33 that we got. Asbestos, hypodermic needles, what we got. So some interior cleanup demolition type of work inside there. So none of that work, design work is ongoing. It has been, we have been going at risk. So we should be able to get a bid package out, by late summer, early fall, and
Okay.
we'll see, because I know that, MVG wants to start building early spring.
Right,
So we have to proceed that work. So that's what we're gonna shoot for.
okay,
And if we have to be pulled into next year, we'll try to go out as early as possible. We'll try to get work going, very early spring.
and this is a reimbursable grant, correct? So,
100, right now, as we see the paperwork, it's 100% reimbursable.
okay,
So, yeah.
okay.
I have a question. So there's a DASNY grant and the Harbor Corp grant, 2 different grants?
There's the DASNY grant for the harbor. There's a canal court grant, but that's not related to that building. It's related to the promenade and some of the other, the machine that's out there cleaning those things up, trails.
Yeah.
They're not related, they're related for us, but they're not related to that site. Just this one is.
And I just have one other question. There's no other mention of the other building in any of this. So again, my concern with you is I'm spending time and money and it's not even acknowledged. So
We're gonna talk about the 17th.
I can address that, Sal, when we get to that point.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that we're dealing with the 33 building, because it's a building that's going to a private entity. That's what the board's planning. It's limited to kind of money we can get. So we have not got public money for the 33 building. It's just heard same problems with the 17 building.
because I'm saying you mentioned like cleanup of the building and this and that, and none of this has been even mentioned to me as far as doing that. So I'm just trying to be on the same page as you.
Mhm.
I would like to know what is available to me, because even though it's not a $20 million project, it's still a project that kind of, to me, it's never been mentioned out in the public, to the public, and it just.
Yeah, I think, am I correct in saying that we've got 2 different tracks?
Yeah.
I mean, he came to the dance a little bit sooner than you did. So,
2 years ago.
so he's tracked in a different path and a different timeline than yours, but
But not a
in
different,
terms
not a
of what we
different
said
path, just
a couple of
different
months ago, we're still committed in terms of redeveloping the entire harbor.
That's right.
And if you're a desirous purchaser, we want to proceed in the same fashion. So we're not here to treat somebody differently than everybody. Everybody has to be treated uniformly. But he's in a different track because he's been at it for a little bit longer than you. But in terms of, I thought that 3 meetings ago, we highly recommended that Brian's team
Work with.
meet with you
Yeah.
and work with you
Well, I'm not-
and afford you the same opportunities as anybody else has.
That's right.
Right, so when I hear things being said that are going on that I haven't heard of yet, I just want to make sure that they're gonna be, if they're doing it for one building, they would be doing it for the other.
Oh, yeah.
And that, you know,
Right, the Empire State Grant, which is what's eligible, right? And I don't want to get in, like the DASDA grant's a memorandum, it's kind of, that same problems we had with the 33 as we had with the 17. Last year, we went in for money for both of them. And basically because the state knew the intention was to sell to a private developer. They said we would rather give grants to the private developer and not the Corp, and not the LDC.
Right.
So
They
that,
didn't want to deal on a speculative.
yes, yeah, and so we're at the same point, nobody's been treated any differently with those buildings.
I understand.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
Even though you might have misspoke yourself, one day you asked me if I didn't get any grant money, would I still be moving forward, right? So Rob's pretty much telling you, if he don't get grant money, he's not gonna move forward. He exercised that right, right? So that's almost like saying, if we don't get him this, that building's gonna sit there, right? But my point is, I was very clearly asked that the committee wanted to know if I would move forward without zero grant money. And I don't know, like, what value that had to the conversation, especially at that point.
But I don't want to talk about, I'm not, I'm the engineer, I mean, you know.
Okay,
I think that's the same thing that MVG, they have to make a determination if it's, you know.
I know, but I was asked by you about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So I just, again, I just like to, I'm trying to be,
So let's do this. Let us get through these 2 action items and then you're on the agenda. So we can get to all that, okay? So, do I have a first and a second on this? Jeff?
So moved.
Move, second? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? So moved. Consulting agreement. Gonna handle that, Paul, while you're on the road?
Yeah, so these are 2 consultant agreements because there's a different engineer for the ground improvement portion of the work. Because it's a little different specialty work with regard to the ground. And again, we have to improve that ground because it's basically that's where the river went. The soft soils are extremely unusual there. You can't build anything there without addressing the ground and strengthening the ground. So that work is going to be is going to be designed and bid out by EM Structural.
Then in the Lee Street area you're referring to? Or
That's in the adjacent to 33.
oh,
Yeah.
behind it or?
That's where adjacent, next to it. Yeah.
Would it go right into the, it would go this way, into the canal this way?
So the way they improve the ground is they auger down and do a ground mix into the ground. It forms like ground piles in a sense, and on a high density grid. So instead of columns going in under a building, you improve the whole ground surface in that area using these high density, this density grid of ground.
I get it.
Yeah, yeah. So I believe that one's 30,000 for the professional services agreement.
Now, are they doing the work or they're just overseeing it?
They are, Rambo's gonna do the construction oversight for all the work. They'll do the design, they'll be the professional design engineer. They would do all the submittals for, to enable construction, they'll review and everything else. And then they'll do some site visits. But the full-time inspector will be under the other.
And these are all covered under the dancing grant?
Yes, correct, 100% covered under the dancing grant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So that's the first one. And did you want to take?
let's,
both
get a motion to accept the structural grant.
Second,
All in favor?
yeah.
Opposed? So moved. Next.
Next one is, Ramble, this is for the utility work. The water sewer, work off of Lee Street. This is for environmental cleanup related to the 33. And then, what am I missing? Guess that's everything, utility work. Oh, there's some others minor demo on site. The old foundation for the mechanics building is still there. So some of that, above ground demolition work in those areas too. So it's that, and then, like we said, we would do, also, bid face services for that work, and separate construction contract. And then all the inspection work. So all the inspection work for this scope of services, but also overseeing a full-time inspector for the ground improvement work. So all the construction management oversight is in this contract. And that's $189,880.
Same thing, all covered under the.
All covered under this.
And we're shooting for a fall project for that.
Fall project for the first contract. First contract would be utilities and that demo work, I'm sorry, I've got it. That's not. The first contract would be ground improvement in the fall. The utilities would be right after, maybe, early spring, probably.
So we'll see some activity then.
Hopefully see some activity in fall, yeah.
Good.
And they're good through the city.
This will be bid through LDC. So, we'll do it, online bid, like we've done it, we've bid through the LDC before. But the city, I will make sure the engineering department has concurrent reviews and everybody's seen everything. So,
Okay. All right, can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
So
Second? Boom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. All right, Sal, you're up.
All right, well, so I talked to Paul the other day, and so, like you were just mentioning something about utility and sewer work on the other building. Right?
Yeah, well, right now, like your building, the 17 building has street, water and sewer. It's a little different situation than Lee Street. They have need some extensions from Lee for that side of the pond, I'd say.
Right, yeah, because there's water across into on this side of the road, there's water,
Right.
but no electric. And
Electric, there's conduit run from, and again, there's no electric in this other development. They have to-
but there's a conduit from Wells
There's a conduit from Wells Ave to the site.
to the site,
I
yeah,
believe a 4-inch or 6-inch conduit, I forget.
there's two conduits coming up. Plus a sewer, it looks like
There
conduit.
was a conduit, there's a 4-inch conduit and I think a 12-inch conduit. I think it was 12-inch for the water. So we ran a water conduit from the water main to the building because, and again, water authority won't allow that lateral until that development's more,
So,
since you're down the road on design, they're not gonna allow you to run the water line. So what we did is, so we don't have to dig up the road, we put a conduit in to run the water lateral through the conduit.
so I was told that they'd be able to pull the water from the same line that's feeding the fire hydrant.
And probably the same line, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
the fire hydrant's already on
Yeah.
this side of the street, so.
I think the water line's in the street and the hydrant's branched off from the water line. That's what the usual case, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I was mentioning to Paul because I was kind of, like different grant people, they all have a different way of peeling the apple, right? But the big thing for me is having to know exactly what it's gonna cost for each item, heating and air conditioning and right down the line. So Dave Bonacci and me are gonna work on drawings. And from the drawings, I would be able to get better numbers. I talked to Mary Ann Bonachan's office and, they said they would, help me with you know, it's the best they could to get what they could. But then SHPA, that's for the outside of the building, but first I was told we could put a composite siding, then I talked to a different guy, he said, no, you know, I don't know, they'd let you sandblast it, there's just so many things that are just up in the air, right? And, I know that, once the grant's applied for, you know, you can't go up, but you can go down. So, you know, I told Paul I would like to move forward with purchasing the building and at that time, work on my drawings and get all my numbers together. So, again, this is all, you know, I ask questions, guys, because when I talk to you at the beginning, this is like a foreign language, right? I'm not a contractor and, you know, I'm a restaurant. That's why I just want to know what's going on. That's all, well, you know, any help I could get. You know, obviously, I need all the help I can get, knowledge wise, grant wise, whatever.
I think our problem is, you know, until we know what the cost of the whole project's gonna be, we can't really look into how do we finance it, right? So you're doing the right things. You got Dave involved. He'll get you a budget of here's what it looks like. Then we can figure out how to finance it, right? And then, you know, the building, you know, once we figure it, if you're good to go, you know, I don't think we wanna sell you a building until you're good to go. You don't wanna own it until you're good to go, right? So.
No, yeah, I get it. I mean, I could do a lot of that inside.
But you know, you got the agreement in place, so it's yours to work on, you know.
Yeah, I just want to, I am like, you know, as soon as I get the green light, I'm aggressive in getting it done because, you know, I would want to get it, you know, I mean, it would probably take 8 months to a year from the word go to get it done, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't have a letter of intent, am I correct? Do we have a
Yeah.
executed?
We have a letter,
Executed
we have a
intent?
letter of
two letters of interest.
Yeah, so originally, you know, Mayor Palmieri asked me for a letter and I gave him one. And then I just never heard nothing until almost 2 years later, they said it was not what they wanted. So I, you know, if I was told the day they got it or a week after, I would read that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just getting any feedback, you know, other than what I'm getting from Jack and Paul, but you know, again, I don't know.
Yeah, oh, no, we got the letter, Jack, sent the letter over.
So just for clarification, for my clarification, letter of interest, what does that mean?
Just basically, he's interested, these are the general scope of, this is the general scope of what I'm looking to do, et cetera. But it's not something like you have in your packet here that is listing out specific terms.
So let's be clear. He does not have a letter of intent
Correct.
that essentially earmarks the property to him under certain terms and conditions. So if Bob Kelly comes along tomorrow and provides a letter of intent, that person, Bob Kelly, he submits it to you and you accept it, he's out. So a letter of interest.
No,
Correct me if I'm wrong, go ahead. I'm listening.
yeah, so what we did, what Sal's referring to is we did a request for expressions of interest. And we did this for the DSA property, the 33 building and the 17 building. And when we did that, we're just looking for interest at that time, who would be interested in developing, in this case, a 17 building. And Sal responded to that. And that's what Jack is referring to. And that simply says, this is what I, you know, am interested in doing, in general terms. Then my colleagues can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Utica Harbor Point Development Corporation passed a resolution based on that letter of intent, through the request for expressions of interest, that Sal would be would give Vin the authority to negotiate with Sal on the details. So now we're at the detailed stage where what's the project, what's the payment for the property, et cetera. And that event, so that's what you have in front of you for MVG. We had the same thing for DSA 1. And then those terms will eventually then get put into the purchase sale agreement. So what Sal responded to, what he's referring to is an initial request for expressions of interest.
So are you telling me, as I see it today, that he has exclusive negotiating rights to the 1917 building?
Correct. So you couldn't come in tomorrow with a thing.
Does council concur with that?
We have a resolution, I believe Lisa's right, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe, if I think back, that the board did authorize and accept the letter of expression of interest for the 17 building. And I probably authorized Vin to negotiate and execute a letter of intent to develop that property. So this corporation only acts through its board. So Bob, if you send in a letter tomorrow, you're right, the board would have to, I would suggest the board resolve to, redact its prior approval of Sal's project and authorize the corporation to, negotiate with you for your letter of intent. So the board would have to take some action if it was going to try to remove Sal and insert someone else, if that was a
Yeah,
question.
I'm not trying to do that, but I think what I'm trying to do is to generate clarity. And so,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, it would behoove Sal to submit a letter of intent with a host of contingencies and terms, rather than rely upon a letter of interest.
Correct. Yes, I
Agreed.
would agree with you.
So my suggestion, Sal, is that's what you should do.
But didn't he say he gave a letter of intent? And he
It's a letter of interest.
interest,
So I
so,
gave a letter of interest, then they told me to submit a letter of intent, which I believe was the last thing I submitted.
I think it was in that.
I think it was a revised letter of interest.
It was missing a
With-
lot of the elements, right?
Right.
But then we sent an attachment with the things that I was told were missing. So again, if I do something,
So here's what
Let's get it clarified.
you should retain counsel. And your counsel should talk with Bob and company with regards to finalizing, negotiating, whatever you want to call it, the terms and conditions of a letter of intent.
Yeah.
And then you're protected by, when you go and spend money, to the Bonacci's of the world, knowing that you've got true exclusivity.
Yeah, you couldn't really even go for a grant right now without, I don't think, a letter of intent,
well, yeah, I didn't even, so up until right now, I didn't know what he's received the second time was not sufficient. You know what I mean? So,
Letter of intent, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between the letter of interest and letter of intent. So in your packet there, you see that there's a letter of intent,
so I understand.
so it's been all,
When I submitted.
lawyered up and stuff.
Right, when I submitted the second one, I don't know how it's termed, but again, no one said nothing to me like, this is not exactly what we want. I was told it was missing some elements, and then we revised it and sent it and revised.
Right.
So, it's.
The letter of intent is going to come again, but with some conversation between your attorney and Bob or our counsel.
I understand that you're saying there's a difference. I
Right.
just didn't know.
Well, we should have told him this a long time ago.
Is there
Why
a
is
draft-
he
is
just
there a
figuring
draft
this
letter?
out now?
Is there a draft letter in
This-
that came from you? I don't.
It doesn't have a lot of the details. Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
doesn't
have a
have
lot of the
the-
details that, like, for example, NVG put in.
Yeah, it's
Well,
gotta
To
be-
deal with this.
But
Yeah.
It
then-
doesn't have an attorney.
Well, all right, so what he says, or you're gonna get screwed possibly. Somebody's gonna come in here with a lot of money and say, listen, I got everything, and you're gonna be looking the other way. Do what he says, or you're gonna get screwed.
Right, I understand. I just.
No, I know, and they should have told you this already.
Well, listen, again, the first letter, I thought when I gave Mr. Plummer the first letter, I was under the impression it was good. Then almost 2 years went by and I was told, well, this really isn't good. So that was the lapse on time, wasn't on me. So then I redid it, sent it back in, and they said it was missing something else. We sent the last thing it was missing. Now, if I have to go further, I will, but again, I didn't know that it was a letter of interest.
Well, is your lawyer telling you that, did he write
No,
this?
because
Who wrote this, who wrote this stuff?
we had,
Who's we?
me and my wife, had a template that another person that is in the harbor, their same template that they gave me to doing a bigger project. So they gave me their template to say, here you go, just, So I felt like if it was just a,
Alright, but not to beat a dead horse here.
If you really want this, and obviously you do,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be.
Get an attorney.
Sitting in front, get your attorney involved.
this has been
Not-
very,
it's not,
very,
it's not a huge undertaking, it's not a huge cost, and proceed to the next step.
Yeah.
right, and I will do that, and there was something else you just told me, a letter of intent. Oh, and so, and then the drawings, so
Yeah, but the letter of intent, your drawings come after.
Afterwards.
Once everybody has approved it, and you've got exclusive control of the property, then you can go out and spend real money.
so is there anybody here that would look at what I sent so far and tell me, you know, cause I'm gonna give that to a lawyer, right? And I'm gonna say, okay, this is what I gave them, but they needed to be,
Right, and he or she will understand
We'll know
that.
what.
they'll know what it's missing?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, again, what you submitted to us is nowhere near refined as this.
Well, we probably should have told you that.
I don't know, I'll do it, you know.
We probably should have told you that.
I mean, Paul did, he was the one who told me that there was something wrong with it, but like I say, from A to B was a long period of time, so I was, you know. That's
Yeah.
all, all right, so we'll move forward.
Yeah, whoever your attorney is, we'll get in touch with Bob.
Bob, I have Bob's
And
contact.
Bob will
Yeah,
work with you.
all right.
Get it
so
done.
There we go, you know.
So,
And then the cost becomes the next thing. You know, what is it gonna cost you to do it and what can we do to help you?
Right.
I think it's great you're working with architect professional, you really need one, you know.
Oh, I know I do,
Yeah,
I know I do. I'm just, I was a little uneasy about things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't gonna throw a lot of money around until I knew that
Yeah.
this is what everybody wanted, you know, that, you know.
You want to share anything else with them? I mean, you talked about construction costs that you're comfortable with to me and,
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of the use, a little bit more details, anything you want to share with the board? Because I think that,
I just think, you know, here, I mean, I know this probably has nothing to do with the board, but, you know, I bet you do, like, if, Paul told me to go out to, what was that, Gaffney, what was the park?
Bellamy Park.
Bellamy Park. So I went out there, same exact building almost, right, but they're not using it for anything really. So for a restaurant, it would have to be insulated, and the doors and windows would have to be today's standard, right? So as the Canal Corp, there's like 10 foot by 10 foot, basically barn doors, right? So I told Paul, on one side of the building, we could save them because we don't need all the doors, but facing the water, those have to be replaced with glass panels. And you could slide the door over to make it look like it's open, right? But I'm just saying, what if the Canal Corp says, no, you can't do that? Who's gonna want a restaurant that they're in a cave? You know what I mean? Right now, there's only little teeny windows, you know, so. That's just the thing that's scaring me, the Canal
Yeah,
Corp,
that-
like, are they,
Is that canal or is that ship fault?
sign offs before you close. Right, you're gonna have a lot of contingencies and a lot of sign offs.
You're gonna need those
Architectural
approvals
and
before you spend a
engineering,
bunch of
all that.
money, right? You
Canal
wanna get
Corp
to,
approval, our approval. So there's a series of steps that you're gonna have to go through. So no one's gonna require you to purchase it until all of your contingencies are satisfied.
so the windows and doors
Yeah.
would be in that
In
letter.
the design, yeah.
In the design.
Yeah, no,
Not in the letter.
I was, I
Well, it'll be
wasn't,
in the letter of intent.
yeah, I wasn't suggesting getting all of the details. I just thought, did you want to take the opportunity now to talk about maybe what your total investment might be in the project, dollar
Oh, I
wise?
mean-
What the kind of restaurant use you're thinking about?
Right.
So,
So it's probably gonna be like $2 million, so that's, you know, again, I talked to FEMA, you know, they said, because the building's a couple inches short of sea level, right? Actual foot wise, it's where it needs to be, but above sea level is short.
couple feet.
Is it that low?
So the finished floor elevation of the building is 409, the base flood elevation is 411.
And so that's from sea level, but from the ground, it's almost 6 foot off the ground, the building.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
doesn't.
I know.
They don't look at it from that standpoint.
Right, no, I understand, but I'm saying, so.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be something else that'll be, you know, probably really important, right? Because they raised,
Yeah, the architect's gonna have to work through a floodplain variance with you, with the Department of State and all that, you know, and, you know, those are all things, you know, ahead of you, you know.
yeah, all right.
I just didn't know, again,
I think Paul's
didn't know.
looking at, you know, what kind of restaurant are you
Are you
gonna,
looking
are
at
you
full sit
anticipating?
down?
It would be, you know, restaurant, banquet facility. I mean, it's a big building. It's 6,000 square feet. So, you know, it's the same.
Is
size.
like fine dining that you have kind of out there?
I don't think, you see what's down there is families, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't really think fine dining is gonna be a hit in the canal,
Right.
the harbor, because, you know, there's a very select few people that eat fine dining, and that's why most fine dining restaurants are 50 to 100 seats, because there's not a huge call for it. But casual dining, family-oriented dining is how you're gonna, you know, you're having all these events and whatever down there. People want to be able to feel comfortable that they're going to the harbor and they can come in and eat. So, you know, pretty much I'm gonna play the crowd, right? I mean,
And your intent is to use the entire space for that
Yeah.
restaurant?
well, restaurant banquet facility, yes. Yeah, I mean, the space gets eaten up quick with the kitchen and stuff, you know, I mean, it goes quick, but yes. You know, I would like to mention one other thing I did mention to Paul, and I think Jack. So I went to both of the events they had down there. And the first one was successful, and the second one was over the top, July 3rd. It was insane. So the police ended up blocking both entrances out because people were coming in with, you know, they're entering from Wells Ave, they're entering from their Starbucks, and it just got all congested, right? So I really think that they're gonna have to make that one way. And the parking was a nightmare. They were in Delmonico's, they were in my place, Holiday Inn, all the hotels. It was, you know, the ice cream place, their parking was consumed with the people. It would, to me, I'm just making a strong suggestion, because I would think that the board would want everyone to be successful that goes down there, right? So I would say it's not a very wide street for two-lane traffic to begin with. But I would suggest making it one way and offering on-street parking, because now you're gonna fit a lot more cars down there, and the flow would be a lot better with everybody going one way and out the other. I mean, it was a nightmare.
But one way wouldn't work at Wells.
Pardon?
Yeah,
One way wouldn't work at Wells.
yeah,
Why is that?
yeah,
They'd exit at Wells.
yeah, you couldn't, yeah. You know, I mean, you're not, when you see events like this before, really everything's done, you know, before we have an event parking lot, everything else, I mean, you know, it's really not a good test of, it's really not a good indication of how will traffic flow will be in the future or something like that. It'll be managed different. Or we have a big event, we'll have an event lot, and those things will be managed different. And, you know, the purpose of the narrow street is, I mean, it's kind of a park setting. You're driving into a park setting.
Right.
The narrow street slows traffic down. And we didn't want, all this was talked about, you know, we didn't want on-street parking and all that.
I'm just saying, I think that's a huge mistake.
Well,
You know, because people don't wanna walk, so, you know, you have an event, people wanna park, you know, as close as they could as to where they're going. That's just human nature, especially the older.
Well,
people.
we're gonna have additional parking, you know, areas.
But on the other side, way on the other side of the harbor, that's not really gonna do people any good that are,
But that's where the available space is.
pardon?
That's where the available space
For
is.
land, yeah, you have available space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I'm saying you have available space on the street.
Well, that's where the land
And you're-
is.
And there's also a street there that could be made one way. And there's also, when you pull into the harbor to the right between the street and the home too, there's a lot there that should probably be utilized in the parking.
To be determined.
But I think it's a very important factor because, you know, if people can't get to you, you can't be successful, right? I mean, that's just, you know, you usually look at how something's gonna look, or you're gonna say, okay, we're giving this 200 parking spots a half a mile away or quarter of a mile away. That's really not gonna do anybody any good. You know, it just doesn't, you know, I mean, they're all gonna go, again, they're gonna go to the businesses around there are closer than the lot. You know, that, you know,
Right.
so I'm just,
Okay.
it's human nature.
Duly noted.
it's a
Okay.
different setting, you know, yeah, a restaurant in that space, it's like a restaurant, whatever, inside the park, you know, it's not, they can't think of it as a, you know, Genesee Street.
Jose Rob's gonna add 50 parking spots. I'm saying for what he's doing, that's not a lot.
Yeah, he's got, you know, some benefit of the cookies lot, right? He owns that too behind there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. Anything else on your for the restaurant in particular. You're gonna hook up with your attorney, work with Dave, try to hit along with, I gotta suggest that you get some type of a grant writer for some of these things that are gonna be coming up. Okay, so, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, this is Bob Murray. Sal, if, you got some really good legal advice from Bob and Jack today. You should retain counsel, right? Your counsel should be experienced with economic development or commercial real estate. Please just don't use any old counsel. This is not a regular piece of real property. Lisa can send you the link. I'm sure this property has an extensive number of old documents and reports and restrictions on it. And there's a whole database. You would have looked at it when you submitted your letter of interest 4 years ago. Your lawyer is going to want to look at that. That will impact how you draft your letter of intent. It sounds like you have a parking challenge you're concerned about. You might want to put that issue, weave it into your letter of consent as well. You can have your counsel call me or my partner, Melanie Murato, and we can talk you through it. The letter of intent drafts that you see before you today, they're not cookie cutter. Each deal is a little bit different. So you can't just, white out names and project descriptions and you wouldn't want to do that anyway. So you should retain counsel. This board has a lot of passion, obviously, about this project, and you too, with the city of Utica, and this corporation wants to do it in the right way. And to the chairman's point, if there's gaps in your project, this corporation has been successful in the past in trying to help fund gaps. Sometimes more successful than other times, but a well-crafted letter of intent will help you, and this corporation can put you in a good position to, maybe it can help you as well. And I would suggest doing it, sooner rather than later. Bob's bringing up a great point. You're a little vulnerable here. If you're spending money, you have no agreement with this corporation. So Melanie and I can help. If you have our phone numbers, you should, again, retain a capable counsel who's used to doing challenged real property transactions, not just an attorney who does purchase and sales for residential real estate. This is going to be beyond the skills of that type of lawyer. And I think if you have that lawyer, and Lisa and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have a share link we can send. I know we've done it with other folks that has links to all of the documents that impact this.
Yeah, well, we would, if you get counsel, we can, share information. Yep, absolutely.
I just didn't know if you had a list of attorneys that met the qualifications that,
I don't, but
Yeah,
Bob,
I don't think they would
Yeah,
recommend anybody.
yeah, I don't think they,
Lawyers in Utica. They'll lead you to restaurant, right?
okay, with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, Al.
Okay, project
Real
updates,
property updates, anything?
anything on Jones?
No, we're,
Thanks, Al.
Yeah,
Jones coming, but we're starting to. Go ahead, Paul.
well, you were just getting, I don't know how you come in with the audit. That's what, the ESD's ready to pay us.
Friday.
Okay.
He has a prior appointment for tomorrow.
So, but I haven't purposely called because I know that's the first.
Okay.
And I do need to talk to them about the remediation system and stuff and see where they are. But I've been kind of delaying Jones Chemical, because I just don't want it.
National Grid, anything there?
We've just been meeting every month. We're mostly talking, we're telling a little bit about the trail system that we might, we may or may not need an easement. Trying to design it so we don't, so they know that, they might need to talk to us about an easement. And other than that, we've been mostly focusing on, the visual screening of the substation. And, yeah, that's one thing, Lisa, right? We at one point we thought about trying to get a grant for that because they have said before, they don't know how much they could spend on that, if it's for the benefit, if it's a special request, I guess, That's something they would normally do, is design a nice visual screening to screen the substation to the heights we want, So they are wondering if, at some point, city, LDC can find a way to pitch in for that, visual screening of the substation.
Yeah, I talked to Rick on the way out last meeting, and he said he'd be willing to, 'cause I'm wondering if we can get him to start cleaning up, we can fill in behind them.
Yeah,
And he said he'd be glad to schedule a meeting like that to talk about,
the environmental people, I've been on the line every meeting.
Mhm.
It was interesting. That reminds me that they keep saying DEC they haven't heard from DEC. They're in the middle of a battle on the depth of dredging and all this, and then DEC went cold. The DEC project manager, retired and nothing happened. Now I remember now, the new project manager called me Friday last week from DEC, and he said he's restarting looking at all these documents. He wanted to catch up with us on the site management plan, getting that, wanted to know what's going on with that, the developer and all that. But he did say he's gonna be re-engaging National Grid discussions, so that would be really good. Because that would, we need really the state to accelerate the remainder of the cleanup.
so if you can get a meeting with him, then
Yeah.
maybe I can come too.
Yeah.
Rick, and see if we can get him to
Yeah.
kind of clean up in front of us so we can come in behind them and start that side of the harbor now. I don't know what's gonna happen with Sal, but if we can get the 33 building straight for Rob, we've kind of got that part of the harbor not
Right.
finished, but
Good
it'd
shape.
be time to move.
Yeah. The good thing with National Grid, it's really about, it's all down to dredging.
Yep.
And the areas of the site they need is where they want to bring dredge materials. So it's not like, they're pretty well done with the soil cleanup. They gotta investigate where the old substation is after they move it a little bit. But the land, remediation is pretty well done. It's the sediment in the Mohawk.
Okay,
That's the.
so
what
could
they
we
finished.
maybe talk about freeing up some of that land if it's already cleaned up to,
Yeah, we
Okay.
should push that back.
yeah, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
tell the community that now we're starting that side and,
For sure. Yeah.
keep the momentum.
Yeah.
Going, so.
Agreed. Yep.
Gasly, we talked about Canal Corp, where you were,
Yeah, so, Canal Corp,
Right.
we are, everything is signed, the GDA was signed, city signed the consultant agreements, and so we're, waiting for some survey, but most of the survey we need is for the trails. So the trails haven't been really in design yet, but we've been spending time on the parking lot, mostly. So everything, so that works smoothly.
Can we get some of the 5 projects out to
Out to
bid
bid,
here?
yeah. Well, the original idea was to bundle them all in different rate schedules, but I mean, I suppose we can look at breaking them out and doing separate bids, I hadn't considered that, but we could probably do that. Yeah, I mean,
They're all
yeah.
different projects. You're not gonna have the same.
Yeah.
Contractor necessarily doing all 5.
No, you would probably hire specialty subs for some of them, but we could, if you felt like, we want to spin out the boat launch or exhibit or whatever and get those done, then we can do that.
I would think the boat launch, there seems to be activity on.
Yeah, we did decide on the boat launch, we're just looking at this with the EDR, but, because where we were planning for it on that other side really interrupts with the flow of the trail, because you're gonna have trailer trucks coming in there dropping off boats, and instead of having a nice isolated trail area, to reach the pedestrian bridge, now you're dealing with people dropping off boats and the safety of that, so we kind of feel like the boat launch now is better over by the 60-car lot, near the kayak and canoe launch, but, in that corner.
Where it looks like there was a boat launch once before?
Yeah, it looks like, it'll be a little bit further up, a little bit just up from that, but right around there, yes. And we would modify that lot a little bit so we could have trailer, pickup and trailer parking there. And then that won't interfere, because the trail actually comes around the trail's on what do you wanna say, the north side of that parking lot around. So when you're in that parking lot, you had the boat launch there, you're not crossing the trail. So that's the really nice part about it. So that's, I think that's where you wanna relocate it. So, so I think that'll be really nice.
As long as Jack can get his yacht on there.
Yeah.
I sold it.
Hey, so look at the bigger one.
Yeah. Is there something in there that says don't keep the fish? When you put something, I mean, that,
Yeah, common sense.
well, a lot of people don't understand. Don't you think we should put some signs up there that says that, you know, we should probably not eat the fish?
We can talk to DC about, you know,
I mean, cause those, God forbid, any eat that stuff in there. The three-headed and,
Don't forget that they glow in the dark.
I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but you have some people that just don't understand.
Right.
So we should put something in there and, you know.
Yeah.
There's some of these good Republicans in there that, you know.
yeah. We're gonna, but the whole trail network, we're gonna have some wildlife signs, typical birds and fish that are in there, and we're gonna be talking to DEC, so, you know, we'll talk to DEC about, should we have, you know, please don't, you
I
know.
hear Rodin's living in there, so I don't know what true it is.
What's it?
Rodin? Remember Rodin?
No.
It's like Godzilla.
It's a Godzilla figure.
Dragon.
He's gonna come out. He's coming out.
So is the Loch Ness.
God knows what's growing in that one.
So, okay.
All right. Nothing else? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
Whoa, wait, I had one thing came up, just, sorry.
All right. Not on the
I
agenda.
can't make, by the way, I can't make the 20th.
Yeah, it's not, MBG called about, so they envision going for their building permit before they close on the property. They're gonna at some point, go through site design and then, you know, building permit. They think that'll probably happen before they have control of the site, which means, and it's important to him because they're all worried about the legislation, the government, and I think this is dead anyway, but the gas legislation where if you have a building permit, then they can't touch you as far as, you know, gas supply. But if you know, don't, then, you know, might be forced to all electric, you know. So he's really hot to get this building permit. But anyway, if that happens that way, and I talked to Dan Koza, they would need permission from the LDC to, you know, to go for the building permit while the land is in the LDC's ownership. I don't see an issue, but I don't know, Bob, I didn't have a chance to talk to you about it, but that was a request that if they can get a letter from Vin, saying that that they have, MVG has permission to seek a building permit ahead of the sale, then they can get, you know, they can go for it and get the permit, you know. So.
That's gonna need planning board approval too.
I, absolutely, it has to be subsequent to planning board. So, but I don't know I don't know what their schedule looks like, but these things that'll happen that way. Yeah.
All right, well, let's have Bob, if you could research that, let us know. That'd be great. Bob Murray.
Do you need a resolution? I don't know what you need.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
I don't see how this comes up
Well, you-
between the next meeting of the board, but, you know.
Paul, do you think he would want that by, because we were gonna ask if we needed the August meeting, do you think he'd want that by August? So we would need a meeting with the LDC in August?
He not only called me, then he texted me, so apparently he thinks this is really important. I don't know.
I guess we could let you know, Vin. We can work out the
Yeah.
details with Bob and Melanie.
Couldn't you make a motion that, subject to council's
Approval,
approval,
yeah,
that we
Yeah.
authorize?
me to sign it or something, as long
Yeah.
as.
Because I think that would, I think that would be the only action we would need, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, so, let's put that motion out there now.
Make the motion that, subject to council's approval, that we would agree to mitigation and allowing a building permit to be secured prior to ownership being conveyed.
For a cost of $50,000.
Well, but that's after it's gone through all the legalese,
Has to go through
you know,
all
with
planning.
DEC and all
He
that.
can't build on it, he can just get the.
City's not gonna issue anything until,
Yeah.
planning board acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get the state to sign off on everything.
Yeah.
Zoning board approval.
I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Plan development.
Yeah.
All right,
Second,
second.
all in favor,
Well,
opposed, so moved.
Guess that was without the $50,000.
well, we could throw the motion out.
I like that.
Now can I
So I
adjourn?
guess, Vin, I don't know if we need the
Yeah.
August meeting with that.
Anything
All
else?
right, motion to adjourn. Second, Vaughn,
Second.
favor?
Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody. Thank
My
you.
grandchildren.
All right.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't make it August 20th.